Hello, winners, and welcome for Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. We share international insights on mindset and leadership on Monday Mindset, travel and the travel agency on Wanderlust Wednesdays, and Fanatic Friday, which is sports, which is what we'll be chatting about today. You can expect each episode to be about 20 to 30 minutes in length. And please make sure you subscribe, follow, and share us on all the major platforms from Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and more. Excited for our very first Fanatic Friday. Nick, you're already rubbing your hands, getting ready. Should be interesting. So let's maybe set the stage first, since this is our first Fanatic Friday for our winners, our listeners. You know, typically we're going to talk about NFL football, college football, NBA basketball, UFC, and then, other maybe hot topic things that are going on in sports. But maybe you'd like to elaborate a little bit more, Nick, like what in your mind do you think we will be covering on Fanatic Fridays?
Yeah, so the goal will be high winners. So the goal will be really to entertain you guys the most we can, based on what we enjoy talking the most as we are together, like when we go have a cigar or when we just are between friends. So we are very excited to share our perspective on sports. NFL, of course, now is the season, so we're going to be talking a lot about that. College football, of course. And then, like we'll mention a little bit what's top of mind during the next weekends. That's what we're going to talk about. Any upset alerts that we're thinking will happen during the weekend, as well as anything, big trades deadline, for example, for basketball or other sports. So we're going to have our opinion on that. And mostly than not, we're probably going to disagree. We're not going to disagree on purpose, but it's literally what we do. We disagree a lot about sports. And that's what makes it fun, right? So what you guys can do and what we love to see is that when you listen to the episodes, to give your feedback about, who are you supporting based on the picks. And then we will have a little ranking between Will and I every week about who gets the upset pick the best. And so it's going to be a little bit of banter back and forth about that, but we want you guys to participate. And so that's going to be even more fun. And also, as usual, if you have any idea about way to improve the Fanatic Friday episode, let us know, and we'll be more than happy to see what we can do.
And really, listeners, our winners, please help Nick with his picks in advance. I think he's going to need a lot of support and help.
A big difference between Will and I is that I'm realistic. So when I'm talking, I have my preference as a team, but I'm not a crazy fan who's thinking my team is the best team in the world. It's not at all the situation, and I will be honest. So, if I feel like we are not doing very well, I will share that with you guys. Will always think that his team is going to be winning every week and winning at the end of the year, every single year, and it barely happened. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Well, you will be honestly wrong, but that's okay. But, there's a reason why we called this segment Fanatic Friday. Like, I consider myself pretty rational about a lot of things in life, but when it comes to sports and my team affiliations, I have to admit, sometimes I see things through rose-colored glasses, but that's part of being a fan. And, I'm not a fair weather fan. I've been through my fandom with my teams through thick and thin. Not that there's anything wrong with people who want a bandwagon jump, but that's just not me. I live and die with my teams, metaphorically speaking, of course.
So, enough speaking about, running around the bushes. So, we need now to really dig deeper and deep dive into what are your teams based on NFL, NBA, college, or whatever you want to share with our winners.
For not to play, but to watch sports, the sport I love watching the most is professional football, NFL, not the soccer. I've been a lifelong Packers fan. So from age 1 on, I was raised in Wisconsin till my early 20s. Can be said like being a Packer fan is like a second religion. For some of us who live in Wisconsin, I am a Packers shareholder. So yes, I did do my donation, and I could say I'm a team owner. no one else can from any other team. But definitely Packers by far. I will say though, there was a period of time when the Packers were not very good, that Dan Marino was a quarterback of the Dolphins, and Dolphins were my second team. So definitely a distant second, but if I had to pick a second team, I would say the Miami Dolphins are my second team. For basketball, again, NBA, Milwaukee Bucks, 2021 champions. Baseball, Milwaukee Brewers. So homer for Wisconsin professional sports teams. For college, I'm a little more flexible. I used to love watching the U back in the heyday when they had all the swagger and things like that. Love jump around in the Madtown Wisconsin Badgers, so when they're doing well, but I don't like if they're doing poorly, it doesn't have the same effect as if the Packers were doing poorly, but obviously I want them to do well. But otherwise I pick up on teams like, recently I got big on Deion Sanders in Colorado and his son Shakur. So college I'm a little more flexible where I'll go with the team Fab Five in Michigan back in the day. I loved that team. Still hurts that they never won a championship in the 2 years that they were really all together. But college a little bit more flexible. But how about you?
Yeah, so everybody know by now, and if you don't know, you can hear I'm not from here. So I'm from Europe. So
not Southwest Tampa?
Football, Southwest Tampa, not for now. But I have to say, overseas at the time, so I moved here in 2013, so now it's getting a lot more popular in Europe, the NFL and college and football in general. But when I was living there, there was not much. There was never an NFL game live on TV. That didn't exist. But when I was 26 years old, so it was back in 2006, I received a satellite from someone who was in the shape in Belgium, meaning someone who was an American, like a army guy, who was stationed in Belgium. So those people have access to satellite, which is called AFN, American Force Network, where they can actually catch things from the US. And so that friend of mine who was an American Army guy, gave me a satellite because he knew I was very high on any sports in US, and since I couldn't access pretty much anything, we had a couple of NBA games a week, but that's about it. So he gave me that, and I started watching, sport. The only game they showed as a football, American football, NFL game every week was Cowboys. The Cowboys was the team that they showed every single week. So automatically I became, a fan of America's team, which is by far the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm realistic. We are not very good. We win during the regular season, of course. We are not very good during the playoffs, that at least we can say. But I'm not someone who jump teams and, bandwagon. So I'm just follow them and I continue to root for them, but I'm realistic about their chances, etc. So the Cowboys. When it comes to college, I'm an avid Longhorns fan. So I'm true a Longhorns fan. That's my team, and any sport in any discipline, I'm a Longhorn. So I will support Longhorns for every sport that exists. I will always be a Longhorns. I go every year, try to watch games from different sports. I watch every day, every year I go watch the Cowboys. That's my teams. In NBA is the Dallas Mavericks. So I was always a Mavs fan and I will always be a Mavs fan. Now I'm very happy being a Mavs fan because I think we're good for a long time now with Luka. But and when it comes to baseball, America's team, Yankees. Why? Same reason. On AFN, the only team they showed every single week was the Yankees. They don't show anything else than the Yankees. So of course I became a Yankees fan, but I'm not as an avid fan of baseball as other sports. When it comes to hockey, definitely Las Vegas.
I was going to say that's the one team we share affiliation, Las Vegas Golden Knights.
The Golden Knights, I love it. If you've never been to a game, this is just phenomenal. The atmosphere of Knights game, this is not normal. This is literally Vegas, true and true. And so we go to Vegas 3-4 times a year, and we try to always catch a game when we can, and it's just an amazing experience. So yeah, that's those are my teams.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, and we'll have to share in a future episode about the UFC 300 when we went in Vegas. That was amazing. Yeah, I think this is a great time of year too, because you have NFL in full force, you got NCAA football in full force, you got the baseball playoffs about to start, you have WNBA playoffs, you have hockey that's just starting. So there's so much going on, and they just finished the President's Cup in golf, and just a great time of year for a sports fan. So excited to bring this to you. I think, before we jump into our first segment, you had a hot take that I posted when we were talking about launching this podcast that got a little traction with people reaching out like, what the heck is Nick thinking? And it was your take about, if the Milwaukee Bucks don't do well this year, you think the Dallas Mavericks are going to get Giannis. He's going to opt out. So maybe share a little bit about that.
No, it's just common sense. When you look at the dollar amount, I always look at the dollar amounts, and surprisingly, when you look at the salary cap of the Mavericks next year, they have cap after Luka, Curry, Klay Thompson. They have cap to have another max contract. You look at the numbers fit. After that, we have to have garbage, like mid-level exception and low-level exception. But if you can have those four in the same team, even if for 2 years, that's the maximum we could afford it, I would definitely pull the trigger and make that happen. And I do believe that Giannis is someone who lacks stability, and I have nothing against the Milwaukee Bucks. I think they did a lot better than what they should with the kind of market they are in, and they're lucky to have Giannis, who is not someone who jump team as soon as something goes wrong. But I think now with 2 new contract he got, and this one coming up to 2 years to the end, if this year is not going well, I don't see him staying another year, because they need to make a lot of changes. So I really see Giannis going to Dallas. You much rather have him going to Golden State Warriors, maybe?
I want him to stay in Milwaukee. See, this is my little bobblehead that was here with Giannis with his NBA champion trophy and MVP, Finals MVP trophy.
He deserved it.
He did deserve it. You stay in Milwaukee, Giannis. You do not leave us.
So that's something I truly believe that it would be the best fit for him and the fit for the team to get him on board.
I hope you're wrong. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. But we'll talk more basketball as the season gets closer and kicks off. Now, let's talk about 2-2 NFL football teams, and 2 teams in particular. Who feels better about being 2-2? The Dallas Cowboy fans or the Green Bay Packer fans? Or other fans?
Yeah, I'm not the Dallas Cowboys fan. I don't feel confident at all about this year. Before the season start, and definitely now after the last 3 games, I don't feel any kind of confidence at all coming from the Cowboys. I'm realistic. I don't believe we're gonna make the playoffs this year based on the situation with the team. There are too many holes in the team, and if you don't have a running back, you can go anywhere, because everything is on the shoulders of your quarterback. And even if we pay him $60+ million, which is the value of a quarterback right now, of the next good one, which was Dak, I'm not someone who think that it was a wrong move to sign him up, because if you don't have him, who do you have? And it's the most important position. So I do believe that we need a running back. I'm upset every time I watch the Ravens. When I saw the game that Derrick Henry played, and we could have him for less than $8 million, that's just troubling to me.
I remember you thought Dallas was going to sign him.
Everybody, he lives in Dallas, he trained in Dallas, he literally was pretty sure that he was going to be signed by Dallas when he was a free agent. But again, I don't like to talk bad about Jerry Jones, because he's one of the most smart businessmen you can find, and at the end of the day, that's the reason why he bought a team. It's to make money, and there's no one better than him and Cuban in NBA. But at the same time, you need to be able to put something on the field that is worth at least give us a shot. And if we had Derrick Henry, I would talk differently. I mean, not Super Bowl, but I would talk like a lot better about the team, because that would...
Even with their defense?
Yeah, because our defense, again, we have a good defense, but nothing on the bench, to me. So if we know we will go through some injuries during the season, and if you have one or two guys injured in defensive end, we're done. And so that's the reason why I don't believe too much in the Cowboys this year. And then they proved that, other than the first half against Cleveland, I think they played awful. And we just win about the Giants with his bye week, barely. So no, I'm not very excited for this year, but I'm honest about it. So yeah, I would give the edge to Green Bay Packers by far this year. Even though I don't believe, like I said before, the year started, they're not going to win the division. And I said, who? The Vikings, because I truly believe Vikings have everything and more. And I did believe in the quarterback. I remember you were rolling your eyes before the season started when I said, you will see Darnold is a way better quarterback than people give him credit with. He never had a team. He never had an offensive line. He never had all of that. No, he has. So he's going to be playing at a high level, and I think he's doing it. He's playing better than I thought he would. But nobody can mess with their offense. Like their wide receiver, running back. I mean, they have everything. I love the running back who came from the Packers. So that's definitely an advantage for Green Bay, but I don't see them winning the division. And I said that before the season started.
Yeah, I don't think, honestly, it matters whether Green Bay wins the division or not. I think, when you look at the Packers the last several years when they've had home playoff games, they haven't played well. Now, part of that could have been an upper 30-year-old Aaron Rodgers, because the same thing happened with Favre. When they got older in the cold weather, they weren't quite the same. So I think in some ways, even though Jordan Love is obviously young, he's, 26, I don't mind the Packers having to go on the road to win. They showed they could do it last year. Who would they beat in the first one? Oh, that's right, the Cowboys. They beat the Cowboys. They whooped the Cowboys, and then they gave San Francisco all they can handle. The Packers' biggest problem is their kicker. Like, it cost them against San Francisco in the playoffs last year. It cost them last week against Minnesota, 2 missed field goals. They lost by 2 points when they were down 28-0. And they lost 31-29. So I actually feel okay with the Packers being 2-2. They went 2-0 with a backup quarterback when Love was out with Malik Willis. Didn't expect that. So the fact that they're 2-2 when Jordan Love missed 2 games, I'm happy with. Now, if you would have asked me how I felt about the Packers being 2-2 at the halftime of the game last week against the Vikings, I would have been much more upset. But the fact that they came back in a game, they had 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, fumble, 2 back-to-back possessions of turnovers in the fourth quarter, and they were 2 missed field goals, and they're onside kick away from winning that game potentially with a made field goal. I actually feel all right, because I don't think they'll play that sloppy again, but they have to fix the kicker, and they have the one area of their team that is slightly disappointing is their offensive line penalties. They're on the left side of the line. The left tackle and the left guard have had more than their fair share of penalties, and it's tough when you play behind the sticks. But I do feel like even if the Packers don't win their division, I still feel optimistic, assuming Love is healthy and they don't suffer any major injuries. They lost Christian Watson for a while, which doesn't hurt or doesn't help much, but they are pretty deep at wide receiver. But I think they could go on the road. When they last won the Super Bowl in 2010, all the games were on the road. And so it's just about being healthy and getting hot at the right time. So, but then again, as we established early on, sometimes I do view things when it comes to the Packers with rose-colored glasses. But I think they'll be all right. We'll see. Long season.
We'll see. I don't believe it, but we'll see. I really don't, because if they go on the road, they have to go against teams that I think are superior to them. But like you said, it depends who's hot at the end of the year anyway. So whatever happened now means nothing.
Yeah, we'll see. You know what team? I'm not expecting great things this year, but what team I'm thinking really has a bright future just 4 weeks into the season? and I hate to say it because it's in your division, but it's the Commanders. Jaden Daniels. Now it helps he's on my fantasy team, so I'm even paying closer attention. But he looks like the real deal.
He's amazing. He was amazing in college, and people usually quarterback. Coming from LSU, the last one was of course
Joe Burrow.
Yeah. And then now Daniels. Usually they do pretty good. They're very different quarterback.
Yeah, LSU quarterbacks and wide receivers. Like sign me up. Yeah. Well, a lot of
I know. No, absolutely, it's true. So I think that I knew it was Williams. I was not high on Williams from the start, and I'm very happy that he's proving me right.
This is my big Packer smile for the Williams being on the Bears.
I know, no, the Bears. I was not worried about the Bears, even though I have everything as well. If they can get a quarterback,
I was actually worried about the Bears coming in this year because I thought Williams would be a little better. Now it's 4 games in, so I'll give him some time. But you're right; they stacked the team around him for sure.
Can you imagine Daniels in the Chicago Bears?
I'm glad I don't. That would be a nightmare.
No. So yeah, you're right. It's gonna be interesting, but it's a long season. But we're already 25% in.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I know. 4 games in, it's 25%.
Too quick.
So yeah.
Too quick.
Anyway.
Yeah. How about the AFC? Any surprise team that may or may not be like a one that you expect to really do a lot of damage in the playoffs, but you think is on the upswing?
I would have. No.
You know who I'm surprised of?
No.
The Steelers. I mean, I know they just lost, but they're still 3-1.
No, they're the worst 3-1 to me.
I understand, but I'm just surprised that they're even 3-1.
I'm not surprised. Tomlin get everybody above 50% every single year, even when they are like. No, I don't think they have a quarterback. I mean, they have 2, so they have none.
And the Browns are worse than I thought. I thought the Browns would be better.
Yeah, even though Watson plays his best game as a Browns, I think last weekend, I'm not very surprised in that conference. It's gonna come up with Kansas City actually don't play well but wins. So it's the same as last year, pretty much.
Yeah, Baltimore.
And now I think the worst for the league is what happened. You know why? Rice got hurt.
Oh, for Kansas City.
And this is the worst for the league. Why? Because they were looking into acquiring Adams. But now with Rice out for the season, they need, and now we're talking about probably 2. They want to have Hopkins and Adams. If they have Hopkins and Adams joining that team, I mean, it's gonna open up Kelsey, who is like.
I don't think the Raiders will trade with the Chiefs. It's just they're mortal like enemies. It would have to be an amazing offer from the Chiefs because I just think Davis. He's not his dad. But he still has some petty in him. And why would you want to help Kansas City potentially win another Super Bowl?
Yeah, you may be right, but I think that now they need it. So they may pull the trigger on more stuff for the Raiders. I mean, because if they get him, I mean, that will open up Kelsey. Like I said, Kelsey right now have two defender on him every single snap. No, that's not going to be the case if they get a Hopkins. Adams and even Hopkins, he's older. They ask apparently a 4th round pick, I heard.
That's not bad for him because he can still give you a good 40, 50 snaps a game.
And I mean, I love Hopkins, so it would be good for his career if he can get a chip. But that's bad what happened because with this injury, now they are in a rush to get a wide receiver, so they will probably pull the trigger on some big trades.
We shall see. Yeah, they won't stay idly by. That's for sure. And actually, when you think about it, from a time of year perspective, it's an advantageous time of year for them to have that major of an injury because you got plenty of time yet to make the trade. You still got a month left before the deadline.
Yeah, but they were already short with that. And then they have, of course, UT wide receiver who is playing super good with Kansas City. He's like a little hill. Yeah. So I'm excited for Worthy. But if you get another one on the other side and Kelsey in the middle...
Yeah, dangerous.
Game over.
All right. So we're going to do 2 upset picks, and this is against the money line, so not against the spread. The Jets against the Vikings, the Panthers against the Bears, the Bengals against the Ravens, Bengals at home, Patriots against the Dolphins, Patriots at home, Browns against the Commanders, Colts against the Jaguars, the Bills are an underdog against the Texans, Raiders against the Broncos, Cardinals against the 49ers, the Rams are underdog at home against the Packers, the Giants against the Seahawks, and the Cowboys are underdogs against the Steelers. So if you want to? How do you want to do it? You want to pick two, or you want to go one each?
We're gonna pick two, but
Okay. I mean, did you want to pick your two up front, or did you want to pick one? I pick one.
all right, I can pick one to start with. Scroll down again, so we're looking at the screen here. I will pick the Rams against the Packers, and it's not because of no. I really do believe that the Rams have a shot to beat the Packers this week, so this weekend. So I will pick that as my first upset pick.
All right, and I will actually pick the Cowboys against the Steelers. I think
I
they
would
can
not
go
do
in
that.
there. I don't think the Steelers has played an offense like the Cowboys yet, and I think they can open it up. All right, who's your second one?
Yeah, go ahead for the second one. Have started.
Me? Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Buffalo against the Texans. I think Buffalo can get into a dome-like environment. They have the offense. I think they'll play fast. I'm going to take Josh Allen with the upset against the Texans.
And I will take the Patriots against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I could see that one too. Actually, as I look through these games, I have like a 4 or 5 team parlay. I think, yeah, I think there's some. A lot of these games are close according to the spread at this time. So, they can go a lot of different ways, but that'll be the ones I pick.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna keep track of that every Friday to see, us like. How many of our picks are actually a winning pick, and then we're gonna put that in the description of the recording every week, and we will know at the end, who are the best upset pick of the year.
Yep, and we'll see. It will either help you on the betting, or if you go opposite us, it may help you in the betting. So one way or the other, either we'll be right or we'll be so wrong you want to do the opposite of what we say. Yeah.
We all about making you money.
Yeah. I like to make myself money, but yeah, I guess so. I said if you can't do that, then have it for our winners. Yeah, that's perfect.
Absolutely. Now a quick question before we wrap that up. What do you think about college football? Who do you think are the final four?
I do think Georgia will be there. I think the way they came back against Alabama, I could see them playing in the SEC championship. I see them making it. I think Texas. I think they're legit there for sure. And then I think, it'd be easy to go Ohio State, I think, because it doesn't look like the Big Ten is as tough. So they may have an easier path to the conference championship, and there's no way they're ever going to leave a Big Ten champion out of the 4.
Not for that, we have 12 this year.
Yeah, but in terms of making it, yeah. But I think with the matchups, they'll be fine with that. And then I think maybe Alabama. So I think, when you think about it going 12, I could see an Alabama-Georgia final, depending on the seeding, where you have an all-SEC final. Alabama, I wasn't sure with the new coach, even though I know he did well at Washington. Gosh, with that talent. And let's face it, they had some great coaching moments, being up as big as they were on Georgia, and then to hang on by their very teeth. I think they will be there in the end as well. So that'll be my 4. How about you?
I have 3 of the 4 like you. I don't have Georgia. The reason why I don't have Georgia is that they struggled big time against Kentucky. Then they have a week bye to prepare to Alabama, and they start with being down 28-7 or something. Yes, they came back, but they came short. And when I look at their calendar, they play 3 very difficult matchup moving forward. And I think they will lose one of those 3, which will put them on the outside looking in, or a very difficult path to get in. So I do have Texas Longhorns, and not biased, but I think they are the best team in college. They played the last 2 games with a backup quarterback. First time in SEC. And yes, it was ugly the last win, but we won by 22 points. But first SEC game with a backup quarterback. So yes, it can be better, but it's a backup quarterback who never played before. It was his second start. So even though its name is Manning, doesn't mean that it's automatic. So I was very impressed by that. Our defense and O-line and D-line are just insanely good. So I think we have everything to make it happen. Second one, Alabama. The quarterback is just phenomenal, and he gets better every week, as it seems. He's at 2 rushing and 2 passing touchdown since the beginning of the year, and he did that against a very strong Georgia defensive team. So that was impressive, and the pause to get this this last pass to the wide receiver on the side who is 17 years old. Williams, I think, or Johnson, no, Williams. That's insane. I think they will be there. The third team we agree upon is Ohio State. 100%. Ohio State for me is the best team outside the SEC. So I have there, but I have a third SEC team.
Really?
And it's Tennessee. I'm so impressed by Tennessee this year.
Wow.
And they play Georgia at home. I think they're going to beat them. And I mean, that's probably the team who impressed me the most since beginning of the year. I think that it's going to be the last four, depending on how they fall in the ranking, of course, because you cannot have all three SEC top four to start the season as a bye, to start the playoffs. So, but those are the four teams. So we'll see at the end of the year. And I think Texas will play. I don't know who they're going to play, but they're going to play, let's say, Tennessee in the final, and I have Texas winning. If we are on pace to really have a strong, I will not call it dynasty because we didn't win yet, but a strong next 5 years with all the players we have who are freshmen and sophomore, plus all the 5-star and 4-star that coming up the next 2 years. I think we are on pace to have a lot of very great years. But as a first year in the SEC, I think that would be a huge story, and I'm rooting for it.
Well,
okay.
Yeah. You'll be flying your Texas Longhorn flag proudly, like you do every week, but it'll even be more so if that happens. Well, we'll see. That's the beauty about sports. We'll find out soon enough. But like the outside the box Tennessee pick, that was a good one. We'll see if it comes to fruition. Yeah. All right. So winners, thank you for joining us. This time went by fast.
I know.
Mercy me. But we'll have some different segment ideas in the future going forward. But like Nick mentioned earlier, if you have ideas, things you'd like to see us to talk about or incorporate into Fanatic Friday, excited to do so. Please make sure you subscribe, follow, and share the Two for the Win podcast. We appreciate you being with us. Please join us on Monday when we have our next Monday Mindset episode. That one's going to be a really interesting one you don't want to miss. So thanks again, winners. Be well and take care.
Thank you, winners. Bye-bye.